She was only 3 years old when her mother left her to die in the darkness of the forest, shaking with fever, alone, without even understanding why. But that same night, an Apache warrior emerged from the shadows and saved her. What nobody knew was that this gesture would forever change her destiny. Years later, now a woman, the abandoned little girl finds herself trapped in a forbidden labyrinth of passion and secrets, between tribal honor, the mystery of her own origin, and a desire so devastating it could destroy everything around her. If intense and unexpected love stories like this touch your heart, subscribe to this channel and comment on what you thought. Every day we post new plots that move and surprise. Discover now the romance that nobody dared to live. The rain was beating against the windows of the Lakewood police station when Amber Wright arrived to give her statement. Her 21 years carried scars that she hid beneath a firm, almost defiant posture. Her brown hair was wet, stuck to her delicate face that contrasted with the hard look of someone who had learned early not to trust anyone. She didn't know that on the other side of the room, through the mirrored glass, a man was watching her with an intensity that cut through the air like a blade. Nathan Blackwood was 35, had been a federal agent for 15 years, and had never felt his chest tighten that way when seeing a witness. There was something about her posture, about the way she kept her chin up even while trembling from cold, that awakened in him a dangerous mixture of protection and desire. "That's her," murmured the investigator beside him. "The girl who survived the ranch massacre 15 years ago, Amber Wright, raised by the Navajo after they found her abandoned in the wilderness." Nathan closed his fists. He knew that case by heart. A brutal slaughter at a cattle ranch in Arizona, where only a 6-year-old child had survived. The girl had disappeared into the forest, and everyone presumed she had died. But the Navajo found her, raised her as an adopted daughter, and now she was there, alive, beautiful, and dangerous to his peace of mind. "Why is she here?" he asked, his voice harsher than intended. "Showed up yesterday saying she has information about who ordered her family killed. Says she remembered new details." Nathan felt his blood freeze. That case had been officially archived 10 years ago. If she really knew something, it meant that very powerful people could be in danger. And so could she. When he entered the interrogation room, Amber looked up at him, and Nathan felt as if he'd been punched in the stomach. Her eyes were a stormy gray-green, intense, and for a second, he completely forgot that he was a federal agent doing his job. "Agent Blackwood," he introduced himself, extending his hand. When she shook it, her skin was cold, but the touch sent an electric current up his arm. "I understand you have important information for us." "I do." Her voice was firm, but there was a hidden vulnerability that he immediately detected. "But I won't talk to anyone except you. And I want protection." "Protection from whom?" Amber hesitated, her hands intertwined on the table. "From the man who ordered my family killed. He knows I'm alive, and he's coming after me." Nathan leaned forward, all his professional instincts on alert. "How do you know this?" "Because in the last 3 months, strange men have appeared in the reservation asking questions about me, offering money for the Navajo to hand me over. Yesterday, the chief told me it would be better if I left before I brought trouble to the tribe." Nathan's hand closed into a fist on the table. The idea of someone threatening her awakened a fury he couldn't explain. "Do you have any idea who it might be?" "I know exactly who it is." Her eyes narrowed. "Colonel William Harrison. He was my father's partner at the ranch. The night of the massacre, I saw him talking with the gunman before it all started." The name hit Nathan like a slap. William Harrison was one of the most powerful men in Arizona agribusiness, with political connections that reached Washington. Accusing him of murder would be like declaring war. "Are you sure about what you're saying?" he asked, keeping his voice controlled. "I was 6 at the time, but I remember perfectly. He was on the veranda of the main house, in a white suit, smoking a cigar. When the shot started, he didn't flinch. He just looked at his watch and walked to his car." Nathan studied her face, looking for signs of deception, but found only an iron determination that impressed him. "Why didn't you tell this before?" "Because I was a traumatized child that nobody would believe, and because I knew he would kill me if he discovered I was alive." Amber leaned forward, her eyes fixed on his. "But now I've grown up, and I'm tired of living in hiding." Silence stretched between them, charged with a tension that went far beyond the police case. Nathan caught himself looking at her mouth, imagining how those lips would taste, before forcing himself back to reality. I'll need more details. Everything you remember from that night. All right. But as I said, I want protection. I'll arrange a safe house. No. Her voice was firm. I stay with you. Nathan swallowed hard. That's not protocol. I don't trust anyone else. Just you. You don't even know me. Amber tilted her head, studying him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. I know how to recognize an honest man when I see one, and I know when a man can protect me. There was something in the way she said protect that made his blood heat up. Nathan stood up abruptly, walking to the window to put distance between them. It was raining even harder outside, and he could see their reflection in the dark glass. Where were you staying? At a motel downtown, but I can't go back there. I'm sure they're watching me. Nathan closed his eyes, knowing he was about to make a mistake that could cost him his career. You can stay at my apartment. Temporarily. Thank you. When he turned around, he found her standing very close to him. She had approached silently, and now they were just inches apart. Nathan could smell her scent, a mixture of rain and something wild that made him dizzy. Agent, she murmured, her voice low. Can I ask you a question? Of course. Are you married? The question caught him off guard. Divorced? Why? Because I don't want to cause problems. I've caused enough problems in my life. Nathan raised his hand, almost touching her face before controlling himself. You're not a problem, Amber. You're a victim who deserves justice. And what if I don't want to be just a victim? The question hung in the air between them, loaded with meanings that neither dared to verbalize. Nathan felt his self-control slipping through his hands like sand. We shouldn't be having this conversation, he said, but didn't move away. Probably not. I'm a federal agent. You're a protected witness. I know. This could ruin my career. I know that too. Then why? Because sometimes in life, we meet a person who makes everything worth it, even if it's dangerous. Nathan felt his heart race. There was an ancient wisdom in her eyes, as if she had lived much more than her 21 years. Amber, you don't need to say anything now. Just don't send me away. Thunder rumbled outside, and the lights of the police station flickered. In the momentary darkness, Nathan saw her face illuminated by lightning and knew he was lost. There was no going back. This woman had entered his life like a storm, and he no longer had the strength to resist. Never, he murmured, finally touching her face. I'll never send you away. Amber closed her eyes under his touch, and Nathan realized she was trembling. Not from cold, but from a need he recognized in himself. They were crossing a line that shouldn't be crossed, but neither could stop. Let's get out of here, he said, his voice hoarse. Let's go to my place. And tomorrow we start hunting the man who destroyed your family. What if they find out about us? Then we'll face it together. Amber opened her eyes, and Nathan saw in them a determination that both frightened and excited him. Together, she repeated, as if making an oath. When they left the station, the rain had diminished to a fine drizzle. Nathan put his jacket over her shoulders, and when their hands touched, both knew there was no more pretending that this was just a police case. In the car, as they drove through the deserted streets of Phoenix, Amber told him more about the years she spent with the Navajo, how she had learned to survive in the wilderness, to read the signs of nature, to fight when necessary. Nathan listened, fascinated, realizing that she was much stronger than she appeared. You never thought about looking for relatives? Other family survivors? There was no one left. My parents were only children, and my grandparents had already died. Amber looked out the window. The Navajo are my family now, or were, until I had to leave. It wasn't forever. When we solve this, you can go back. And if we can't solve it, Nathan stopped at a traffic light and looked at her. We will, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep. I don't. He held her hand. I never do. His apartment was in a simple but well-located building. When they entered, Amber walked to the window that overlooked the river, watching the city lights reflecting on the dark water. It's beautiful, she said. Are you hungry? I can make something for dinner. I'm not hungry. She turned to him. I'm afraid. Nathan approached her, stopping a few steps away. Of me? Of myself? Of what I'm feeling? Amber lowered her eyes. I've never felt this before. What? This need to be close to someone, to trust someone. She raised her eyes to him. To want someone. The words hit Nathan like lightning. He took another step until they were almost touching. Amber, I know it's wrong. I know you're an important man, and I'm just an Indian with no family, no money, nothing. Stop. His voice came out harsher than intended. Don't ever say that again. You're not just anything. You're the bravest woman I've ever met. You barely know me. I know enough. Nathan raised his hand, touching her face. I know enough to know you're special, and to know that I'm completely lost. Lost? For you. For what's happening between us. Amber placed her hand on his chest, feeling his accelerated heartbeat. So I'm not the only one feeling this? No, you're not alone. They stayed like that for a long moment, breathing the same air, feeling the same heat. Nathan knew he should step back, that he should be the responsible adult in this situation. But when Amber rose on her tiptoes, bringing her face closer to his, all self-control disappeared. The kiss was inevitable, soft at first, like a question, then more intense when she responded by wrapping her arms around his neck. Nathan pulled her against him, feeling as if he was holding something precious and fragile, but at the same time strong enough to save him. When they separated, both were breathless. Amber rested her forehead against his, eyes closed. This isn't going to be simple, Nathan murmured. I don't want it to be simple. I want it to be real. It will be real, but it will also be dangerous. I'm not afraid of danger. You should be. William Harrison is a powerful man. If he discovers you're alive, and that we're together, then we don't let him find out. Amber opened her eyes, and Nathan saw in them an iron determination. At least not yet. You have a plan? I do, but you'll need to trust me. Nathan studied her face, seeing for the first time the woman who had survived a massacre, who had grown up in the wild, who had learned to fight. I trust you, even knowing this could cost you everything. Even knowing that. Amber smiled, and it was as if the sun had risen in the middle of the storm. Then let's make this man pay for what he did. Outside, the rain started to fall heavily again, and Nathan knew the storm was just beginning. But for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone facing it. Dawn arrived with a golden light that poured through the window of Nathan's bedroom. Amber woke up gradually, still enveloped in his scent on the sheets. Her heart racing when she remembered where she was. She had slept in his arms, but nothing beyond kisses had happened. Nathan had been a gentleman, even with desire burning between them like live coals. She got up silently, walking to the kitchen where she found him preparing coffee, already dressed in jeans and a white dress shirt. When he saw her, his eyes darkened in the same way as the night before. Sleep well? He asked, his voice rough from the morning. Better than in months. Amber approached, stopping beside him. Thank you for not forcing anything last night. Nathan turned to her, his eyes serious. Amber, I would never do that. When it happens between us, it will be because we both want it, without pressure, without fear. When it happens. Not if. Nathan smiled sideways. When? Her heart accelerated, but before she could respond, his phone rang. Nathan looked at the screen, and the smile disappeared. It's from work, he said, answering. Blackwood. Amber watched his expression change, his muscles tense. When he hung up, his face was somber. What happened? Someone broke into the motel where you were staying, turned everything upside down, broke furniture. The owner said it was 3 men asking about you. Amber's blood ran cold. Do they know where I am? Not yet, but they're close. Nathan held her shoulders. I need to take you to a safe place while I investigate. No, you promised you'd stay with me, and I will, but I need to do my job too. Then I'll go with you. Nathan shook his head. Too dangerous. More dangerous is leaving me alone. Amber moved away from him, crossing her arms. I'm not a fragile doll, Nathan. I grew up in the wild. I know how to defend myself. I know you do. But this is different. We're dealing with professional hitmen, and I've been dealing with this for 15 years. Her eyes flashed. You think I got here by accident? That it was luck I survived so long? Nathan studied her, seeing for the first time the warrior hidden behind the delicate beauty. What haven't you told me? Amber hesitated, then sighed. In the last 5 years, I've killed 4 men who came after me. Not for pleasure, but out of necessity. The Navajo taught me to use bow and arrow, knife to move in the wilderness without making noise. I'm not just a witness, Nathan. I'm a hunter." The revelation hit him like a punch. Nathan approached her, seeing the hidden pain in her green eyes. "You had to do this alone all these years?" "Had to do it. It was either me or them. No more." Nathan pulled her to him, hugging her tightly. "No more. Now it's the two of us." Amber melted in his arms, allowing herself to be vulnerable for a moment. "I'm so afraid to trust someone." "I know, but you can trust me. And if you disappoint me, I won't disappoint you, I promise." She raised her face to him, and Nathan saw tears in her eyes. "No one has ever protected me before. I don't know what that's like." "Then learn with me." The kiss was more intense than the night before. Amber surrendered completely, his hands in her hair, their bodies pressing together as if trying to become one. When they separated, both were breathless. "We'll work together," said Nathan, his voice hoarse. "But you do exactly what I say when I say it. Deal?" "Deal." "And Amber?" "Yes?" "Don't hide anything else from me. We need to trust each other completely." She nodded, but Nathan noticed a shadow pass through her eyes. There was something more she wasn't telling, but he decided not to press. For now. An hour later, they were in his car, driving to a ranch on the outskirts of Phoenix. Nathan had discovered that William Harrison would be there that day, supposedly for a business meeting. The plan was simple: observe from a distance, collect information, maybe get photos or recordings. "Tell me more about that night," Nathan asked as he drove. Any detail could be important. Amber was silent for a moment, looking out the window. "I was in my room when I heard the first shots. My mother ran in, picked me up and took me to the closet. She told me to stay quiet, no matter what happened." "Where was your father?" "He had gone out to talk to the ranch hands. My mother said he had discovered something about his partner, something he shouldn't have known." "What exactly?" "That Harrison was using the ranch to launder drug money. Dad found some documents in the office, evidence of the scheme." Nathan felt his heart race. "Do you know where these documents are?" "My mother hid them before taking me to the closet. She said one day I would have to find them." "Where?" "In the treehouse my father built for me. It had a secret compartment in the floor." "Does the ranch still exist?" "Yes. Harrison bought it after my parents' death. Said it was to preserve the family's memory." Amber laughed bitterly. "Hypocrite. We'll need those documents." "I know. That's why I need to go to the ranch." Nathan stopped the car on the shoulder, looking at her. "Are you crazy? That's suicide. It's the only way to get the evidence, and I know every inch of that place." He might have changed everything. "The treehouse was still there the last time I checked, 3 years ago." "You went back there?" "Several times. Always at night, always in silence." "Harrison doesn't live there. He just visits from time to time." Nathan ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. "This is insane, Amber." "Maybe, but it's our only chance." They were silent for a moment, the weight of the decision in the air. Nathan looked at her, seeing the determination in her green eyes, and knew he couldn't dissuade her. "All right," he finally said, "but we do it my way. Total planning, backup, escape routes." "Agreed. And first we observe Harrison today. I need to see what kind of security he has." When they reached the ranch where Harrison was, Nathan parked the car on a dirt road hidden among the trees. Through binoculars, they could see the main house, a colonial mansion surrounded by well-kept gardens. "How many guards do you count?" asked Nathan. 6. 2 at the entrance, 2 patrolling, 2 at the back of the house. "Armed?" "All of them. Pistols and at least 1 with a rifle." Nathan lowered the binoculars, impressed. "You have eagle eyes. I learned to observe to survive." "And that man in the suit on the porch?" Amber took the binoculars, focusing on the figure. When she saw him, her entire body tensed. "It's him," she whispered. "William Harrison." Nathan felt the change in her, the way her breathing quickened, her hands trembling slightly. "Are you okay? I'm seeing for the first time in 15 years the man who ordered my family killed. Do you want us to leave?" "No." Her voice hardened. "I want to memorize every detail about him. I want to know how he moves, how he acts, how many people are with him." Nathan observed her profile, seeing the transformation from frightened woman to predator. It was both fascinating and terrifying. "Amber, you can't take justice into your own hands." "I won't. I'll make him pay legally. But if he tries to kill me before that, then I'll kill him first." She turned to him surprised. "You would do that? For you?" "I'd do anything." The moment was interrupted by a sound that froze their blood, the noise of a car approaching on the road. Nathan looked in the rearview mirror and saw a black SUV coming toward them. "Damn," he muttered, starting the car. "We've been spotted." "It can't be a coincidence," said Amber. "Someone saw us." Nathan stepped on the accelerator, but the SUV was faster. In a few seconds, it was right behind them, and Nathan could see two armed men inside. "Hold on," he said, making a sharp turn. The chase turned into a nightmare of dust and adrenaline. Nathan drove like a madman on the dirt road, avoiding holes and branches, while the SUV tried to pull alongside them. Amber remained calm, but Nathan could feel the tension radiating from her. "There," she said, pointing to an almost invisible trail among the trees. "Turn there." "Are you sure?" "Trust me." Nathan turned abruptly, the car skidding in the mud. The trail was too narrow for the SUV, but perfect for his sedan. In a few minutes, they had lost their pursuers. "How did you know about this trail?" asked Nathan, still with his heart racing. "I told you I knew this region. I spent years exploring every inch of it. You saved me. We saved each other." Nathan stopped the car in a clearing, turning off the engine. The silence of the wilderness enveloped them, broken only by the sound of their heavy breathing. They looked at each other, and Nathan saw in her eyes the same fire he felt inside. "He knows we're investigating," said Amber. "Yes. That changes everything." "Changes how?" "Now he comes with everything. We won't have time to plan." "Then we do it now." Nathan turned to her. "Amber, do you understand that if we do this, there's no going back?" "He'll try to kill us. He's already trying. We might not come out of this alive." "Maybe." Amber approached him, placing her hand on his face. "But at least we'll die fighting, and we'll die together. Aren't you afraid?" "I am, but I'm more afraid of continuing to live as a fugitive." Nathan held her hand, bringing it to his lips. "Then let's end this." "When?" "Tonight. We'll get the documents and finish this once and for all." "What if it's a trap?" "It probably is." "But we don't have a choice." Amber smiled, and Nathan saw in her the same determination that had fascinated him from the first moment. "Then let's go straight into the trap. You're crazy. And so are you. That's why we work." Nathan laughed, despite the gravity of the situation. "You're right. We're two crazy people in love." "In love?" "Hopelessly. Even knowing it could be our last day. Especially knowing that." The kiss was different from the previous ones. There was urgency, desperation, the certainty that time was running out. Nathan pulled her to him, and Amber let herself be carried away, both lost in a moment that could be their last. When they separated, both knew there was no turning back. It was all or nothing. "Nathan," Amber murmured against his lips. "What?" "If we don't make it out alive, I want you to know that these have been the best days of my life. We're going to make it out alive. We have to. Promise?" "I promise." But when Nathan looked at the wilderness around them, dark and full of dangers, he wondered if he would be able to keep that promise. He only knew he would try. For her, for them, for a chance at a future they had barely begun to imagine. Night was approaching, and with it the moment of truth. Nathan held Amber's hand, feeling her strength, and knew that no matter what happened, they would face it together. The final hunt was about to begin. Night was falling on the ranch like a black curtain when Nathan and Amber approached the property's boundaries. They had spent the last few hours planning each movement, studying maps and escape routes. Nathan had checked his equipment 3 times: pistol, radio, flashlights, first aid kit. Amber, for her part, carried only a hunting knife and a collapsible bow the Navajo had given her. "Are you sure you can find the treehouse in the dark?" Nathan asked for the 10th time. "I could find it blindfolded," Amber replied, adjusting her backpack. "I played there every day for 6 years." They moved silently through the wilderness, Amber leading the way with a precision that impressed Nathan. She seemed to know every branch, every stone, every sound of the forest. When an owl hooted in the distance, she immediately stopped, raising her hand. "Not an owl," she whispered. "It's a signal." "Signal for what?" "Harrison's men. They use animal imitations to communicate." Nathan felt his blood freeze. "How many?" Amber closed her eyes, concentrating on the sounds of the wilderness. "At least 6. They're surrounding us." "Trap?" Obviously, he knew we would come. Then we go back? No. Her voice was firm. We've come too far, and this might be our only chance. Nathan held her arm. Amber, this is suicide. Maybe, but I can't live running anymore. She turned to him, her eyes shining in the dark. I'd rather die free than live a prisoner of fear, and I'd rather you lived. Then help me finish this. Nathan studied her face, seeing the unwavering determination, and knew he couldn't make her change her mind. All right, but my way. No heroics. Agreed. They continued advancing, now with even more caution. Nathan could feel the presence of the men in the wilderness, like shadows waiting for the right moment to strike. His police instinct screamed for him to retreat, but something stronger pushed him forward. The need to protect Amber and give her the justice she deserved. There, whispered Amber, pointing to a clearing ahead. The treehouse. Nathan saw the wooden structure built in an ancient tree, partially hidden by the foliage. It was smaller than he had imagined, but it was still standing after so many years. How do we get there without being seen? I'll go alone. I'm faster and quieter. No way. Nathan, you don't understand. I can climb the tree without making noise. You can't. I'm not letting you go alone into a trap. Then cover me from here. If something goes wrong, shoot to give me time to escape. Nathan hated the idea, but knew she was right. 5 minutes. If you're not back in 5 minutes, I'm coming after you. 10 minutes. I need to find the secret compartment. 7. 8. Deal. Amber approached him, placing her hand on his face. If I don't come back, you will come back. But if I don't, I want you to know that you were the best thing that ever happened to me. Amber. She kissed him, a quick but intense kiss, then moved away before he could protest. Nathan watched her move between the trees like a ghost, admiring the grace with which she moved in the darkness. Amber reached the base of the tree and began to climb with the agility of a wild animal. Nathan lost sight of her for a few moments, then saw her emerge on the treehouse platform. She knelt, beginning to search for the secret compartment. That's when Nathan saw the reflection of a rifle in the forest. "Amber, get out of there!" he shouted. But it was too late. The first shot shattered the wood of the treehouse, right beside her. Amber threw herself to the floor of the platform, while Nathan began shooting in the direction of the sniper. The shootout exploded in the forest, echoes of gunfire ricocheting among the trees. "Found it!" shouted Amber, holding up a sealed envelope. "I got it! Get down now!" But when Amber tried to descend, another shot made her retreat. She was trapped in the tree, with shooters surrounding her from all sides. Nathan moved between the trees, trying to get closer to her, but Harrison's men were professionals. "Agent Blackwood," a voice shouted in the darkness. "Come out with your hands up and the girl doesn't get hurt." Nathan recognized the voice. It was William Harrison in person. "Go to hell," he shouted back, continuing to shoot. "You're at a disadvantage, Agent. There are 8 of us, and 2 of you. Then come and get me." The shooting intensified. Nathan moved like a soldier, using everything he had learned in Federal Bureau training, but he knew it was just a matter of time until the ammunition ran out or one of the shooters hit their mark. In the tree, Amber had assembled her bow and began shooting arrows with deadly precision. Nathan heard 2 cries of pain in the forest and knew she had hit at least 2 men. "Amber, jump!" he shouted. "I'll catch you! Too high! Trust me!" A moment of silence, then she appeared at the edge of the platform. Nathan positioned himself under the tree, arms open. When she jumped, he caught her in the air, both rolling on the ground to absorb the impact. "Are you okay?" he asked, breathless. "I am, and I have the documents." "Then let's get out of here." They began running through the forest, following the escape route they had planned. But Harrison's men knew the region too, and soon they were being pursued again. "That way!" shouted Amber, pointing to an almost invisible trail. They ran for 20 minutes, the sound of pursuit gradually distancing. When they finally stopped to breathe, they were in a hidden cave that Amber had known since childhood. "Let me see the documents," said Nathan, turning on a flashlight. Amber opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside were yellowed papers, photographs, and a thumb drive. Nathan examined everything with growing excitement. "My God," he murmured. "This is a gold mine. Fake contracts, money laundering, connections with the Colombian cartel. Is it enough to arrest him?" It's enough to arrest him and a dozen other people." Nathan looked at her. "Your father was a brave man. He knew this would kill him. And yet he did the right thing. Like father, like daughter." Amber smiled, but the smile died when they heard voices approaching the cave. "They found us," whispered Nathan. "There's a back exit, but it's tight. Let's go." They crawled through a narrow passage that led to an opening on the other side of the hill. When they emerged, they were close to the road where they had left the backup car. "We almost made it," said Nathan, helping Amber out of the passage. That's when Harrison's voice echoed behind them. "Almost, but not quite." They turned and saw the colonel emerging from the forest with 4 armed men. William Harrison was a 60-year-old man, tall, with graying hair and eyes cold as ice. He wore expensive clothes even in the middle of the wilderness, and there was a natural arrogance in his posture. 15 years, he said, looking at Amber. 15 years looking for you, girl." "Here I am," replied Amber, raising her chin. "Prettier than I imagined. Shame you'll have to die." "Before I die, I want to know one thing," said Amber. "Why did you kill my family?" "Because your father was an idiot idealist. He thought he could blackmail me, force me to stop the business." Harrison laughed. "As if I would let a half-rate rancher ruin years of work. He was an honest man. Honesty doesn't fill pockets, girl. Your father learned that the hard way." Nathan moved almost imperceptibly, positioning himself between Amber and the guns. "You won't touch her." "Ah, the agent in love," mocked Harrison. "How romantic. Too bad love doesn't stop bullets." "Maybe not, but it can inspire doing the right thing." Nathan raised his hand, showing a small device. "Recorder. It's all here. Your confession, your threats, everything." Harrison's face hardened. "Son of a bitch. And that's not all." Nathan smiled. "Remember my radio? It was on the whole time. My colleagues at the bureau heard everything. As if on cue, the sound of helicopters began to echo in the distance." Harrison looked at the sky, his expression furious. "Kill them both!" he shouted to his men. But before they could shoot, tear gas projectiles rained from the sky. The smoke spread quickly, and in the chaos that followed, Nathan grabbed Amber and pulled her behind a rock. "You planned this?" she asked, coughing. "Plan B? I always have a plan B." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you would never have agreed to be bait." "Bait? Sorry, but it was the only way to get his confession." Amber looked at him for a long moment, then smiled. "You're smarter than I thought, and you're braver than I imagined." The helicopters landed in the clearing, and federal agents jumped out, surrounding the area. Nathan saw Harrison being arrested, handcuffed, and taken to one of the helicopters. "It's over," he said, pulling Amber to him. "Really over? He'll spend the rest of his life in prison, and you're free." "Free for what?" "To live, to be happy." Nathan touched her face. "To stay with me." "Are you sure? I'm not exactly a normal woman." "Thank God you're not. Normal women would bore me." Amber laughed, a sound that Nathan would never tire of hearing. "And now? Now you'll have to decide what you want to do with your life." "I already decided." "What?" "I want to stay with you. I want to learn to live without fear. I want to discover who I am when I'm not running. And if you don't like what you discover, then at least I'll discover it with you." Nathan kissed her, a kiss that sealed a promise of future. When they separated, both were smiling. "There's something I need to tell you," said Amber. "What?" "I love you. I love you too. Even knowing I'm a killer. You're a survivor. That's different. And if I have nightmares, and if I can't adapt to normal life, then we face it together, one day at a time." Amber rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "Do you think my parents would be proud?" "I'm sure they would. You made justice happen." We did. The rescue helicopter approached, and Nathan helped Amber board. As they flew over the forest, she looked down one last time, seeing the wilderness that had been her home and her prison for so many years. "No regrets?" asked Nathan. "Some, but not of the fear." "And the Navajo?" "I'll visit them. I'll introduce you to them. Do you think they'll like me?" "They'll love you, especially when they know you made me happy." "I make you happy?" "Incredibly happy." Nathan smiled, pulling her closer. "Then my mission is accomplished." "What mission?" "Protecting you, taking care of you, loving you." "And what's my mission?" The same. Protect, care, and love. I accept the mission. Great, because it's going to be a lifelong job. I can't wait to start. As the helicopter flew toward Phoenix, Nathan and Amber embraced, knowing that the hardest part was over. Now it was time to learn to live, to love, to be happy. But there was still one last surprise waiting for them. A surprise that would test their love once more and would prove that some secrets from the past never completely die. For now, though, they had each other, and that was enough. 3 months had passed since William Harrison's arrest, and Amber's life had completely changed. She now lived with Nathan in a larger apartment overlooking the river and tried to adapt to the routine of a normal life. Mornings were dedicated to therapy sessions, afternoons to studies. She had decided to finish high school and apply to law school, and the nights belonged entirely to the two of them. Nathan observed with fascination her transformation. The wild woman he had met at the police station was still there, but now mixed with a delicacy he had never seen before. Amber was learning to smile without fear, to sleep without nightmares, to trust that tomorrow would be better than today. "Are you going to drool there all day, or are you going to help me with this math test?" she asked, raising her eyes from the books spread across the kitchen table. "I prefer to drool," replied Nathan, approaching from behind and kissing her neck. "You look beautiful when you're concentrated." "Nathan," she murmured, but tilted her head to give him more access. If you continue like this, I'll never be able to study. Maybe that's the idea." Amber laughed, turning in his arms. "You're terrible. You make me this way." "Me? You." Nathan kissed her softly. "I love you, Amber Wright." "I love you too, Nathan Blackwood." It was a routine they had developed, these small and constant declarations, as if they needed to remind themselves at every moment that this was real, that they had survived, that they were together. The phone rang, interrupting the moment. Nathan looked at the screen and frowned. "Who is it?" asked Amber, noticing the change in his expression. "The Bureau, probably about Harrison's trial." "Answer it." Nathan answered, and Amber watched his face harden as the conversation progressed. When he hung up, he was tense. "What happened?" "Harrison wants to make a deal. Says he has information about something that might interest you." "What kind of information?" "About your mother." Amber's blood froze. "My mother died that night, along with my father." "Apparently not. That's impossible. I saw her body. It could have been staged. He wants to talk to you." "No." Amber moved away from him. "I won't see him." "Amber." "No, Nathan. I won't let him play with my head. My mother is dead. I mourned her. I buried her in my memory. What if he's telling the truth? And if it's a lie? And if it's just a way to hurt me?" Nathan approached, holding her shoulders. "Then at least we'll know. You won't be able to have peace until you know." "I already have peace. I have you. I have our life. And you'll continue to have it, no matter what he says." Amber looked into his eyes, seeing the sincerity there. "Will you go with me?" "Of course I will. Promise you won't leave me alone with him?" "I promise." "And if he's lying?" "Then we leave and never talk about it again." "And if he's telling the truth?" "Then we deal with it together." Amber took a deep breath, trying to control the whirlwind of emotions. "All right, I'll talk to him." "Are you sure?" "No, but I'll do it anyway." 2 hours later, they were at the federal prison where Harrison was awaiting trial. He seemed to have aged 10 years in 3 months. His hair was completely gray, his skin pale, his eyes sunken. But there was still an arrogance in his gaze that irritated Nathan. "Amber?" he said when she sat across the table from him. "You look beautiful. City life has done you good." "Say what you have to say," she replied, her voice controlled. "Straight to the point. I like that." Harrison smiled. "Your mother is alive." "Lie. She's in a psychiatric clinic in Tucson. Committed for 15 years, under the name of Mary Smith." "That's impossible." "I saw her die. You saw her being taken by my men. But I never said she was killed." Nathan leaned forward. "Why keep her alive?" "Because she had information I needed. Bank codes, contacts, things only she knew." "And why are you telling me this now?" asked Amber. "Because I'm dying." Harrison coughed, and Nathan noticed blood on his hand. "Cancer. 3 months, maybe less." "So what?" "I want to make a deal. I give you the exact location of your mother, and you ask them to drop the murder charges. Dream on, said Nathan. I'm not talking to you, Agent. Amber was silent for a long moment. Is she okay? Physically, yes. Mentally, well, 15 years in a psychiatric hospital aren't easy. You drove her insane. She drove herself insane. Guilt, remorse, trauma. Choose the name you want. Son of a bitch, muttered Nathan. So? Asked Harrison. Do we have a deal? No, said Amber, standing up. I won't make a deal with you, but I'll find my mother anyway. Good luck. She was registered with fake documents. You could search for 50 years and not find her. We'll see. Amber, called Harrison when she headed for the door. She might not remember you. She might not even recognize you. Better a sick mother than no mother. You'll regret not making this deal. I regret many things in life, but not putting you in jail. When they left the prison, Nathan noticed that Amber was trembling. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. She stopped on the sidewalk. My mother is alive, Nathan. After 15 years thinking she was dead, she's alive. We'll find her. And if she doesn't remember me, and if she doesn't want to see me, then at least you'll know you tried. And if she's really insane, then we take care of her. Together. Amber looked at him, her eyes full of tears. Why do you do this for me? Because I love you. Because you would do the same for me. I would. Then let's find your mother. The search lasted 2 weeks. Nathan used all his contacts in law enforcement. Amber looked for clues through the Navajo, and they finally managed to locate the clinic. It was a discreet place on the outskirts of Tucson, specializing in long-term psychiatric treatment. She's in room 247, said the nurse. But I need to warn you that she hasn't received visitors for a long time. She might get agitated. Does she know we're visiting? Asked Nathan. No. We thought it better not to tell her. She tends to have episodes when they talk about the past. Amber took a deep breath. I want to see her. Are you sure? I am. The hospital corridor was long and white, smelling of disinfectant. Amber walked slowly, her heart beating so hard she was sure Nathan could hear it. When they reached room 247, she hesitated. Do you want me to go in first? Offered Nathan. No, let's go in together. The woman in the room was sitting in a chair near the window looking at the garden. She was in her early 50s with graying hair and wore a blue hospital gown. When she heard the door open, she turned. Amber gasped. It was her. Older, thinner, with wrinkles of suffering. But it was definitely her mother. Mom, she murmured. The woman looked at her without recognition. Are you new here? I haven't seen you before. I'm Amber, your daughter. I don't have a daughter. My daughter died. No, Mom. I'm here. I'm alive. My daughter died in the forest. I left her there. I abandoned her. Her voice got louder. I'm a terrible mother. I let my daughter die. No, you didn't. You saved me. No, no, no. The woman began to rock her body. She's dead. My little girl is dead. Amber approached, kneeling beside the chair. Mom, look at me. It's me. I'm your Amber. Amber was wearing the blue dress with flowers. It was her favorite dress. I remember the dress. You gave it to me on my 5th birthday. The woman stopped rocking, looking at Amber more carefully. You have her eyes. Because I am her, Mom. You can't be. Amber was small. You're a grown woman. I grew up. I grew up with the Indians, like you planned. The Indians. The woman touched Amber's face with a trembling hand. You're warm. You're alive. I'm alive. I'm here. My little girl. Tears began to roll down the woman's face. My little girl is alive. I'm alive. And I'm okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I left you. But he was going to kill you. He was going to kill you if he knew where you were. I know, Mom. I know you did the best you could. Do you forgive me? There's nothing to forgive. You saved me. The woman hugged Amber and they cried together. Nathan watched from the door, his own eyes wet. Amber, said her mother after a few minutes. Are you married? Do you have children? I'm not married yet, but I have a man who loves me. Where is he? Here. Amber turned to Nathan. Come here. Nathan approached, greeting Amber's mother. Very nice to meet you, Mrs. Wright. Do you take good care of my daughter? I do, and I will for the rest of my life. Do you love her? Very much. And does she love you? She does. Then it's all right. It's all a mother could want. The next 3 hours were an emotional roller coaster. Laura had moments of total lucidity, followed by episodes of confusion. But she was clearly better with Amber's presence. "Doctor," said Nathan when the psychiatrist arrived, "is there a possibility of discharge? After 15 years, it will be a long process. But with family support, it's possible. She will have all the support she needs." "Mom," said Amber, "do you want to come live with us?" "Can I?" "Of course you can. We're a family." "And Nathan?" "Nathan is family now too." Laura smiled, and for the first time in 15 years, she seemed genuinely happy. "Then yes, I want to go home." 6 months later, Laura was living with them. She still had difficult days, but she was visibly better. She had resumed some old habits like cooking and taking care of plants. Amber had learned to deal with the ups and downs of her mother's illness, and Nathan had become a son to Laura. "Amber," said Laura one morning as they were having coffee, "you're different." "Different how?" "Glowing." "You're glowing." Nathan looked at Amber, noticing that she really was radiant. "Are you okay?" "I'm more than okay." Amber smiled. "I'm pregnant." Silence fell over the table. Laura was the first to react. "A baby? I'm going to be a grandmother?" "You're going to be a grandmother." "Oh my God." Laura stood up and hugged Amber. "A baby?" Nathan was still in shock. You're sure?" "I took 3 tests, all positive. We're having a baby." "We are." Nathan stood up, took Amber in his arms and spun her around. "We're having a baby." "Be careful with her," shouted Laura, laughing. "Sorry." Nathan put Amber down, kissing her passionately. "I love you so much." "I love you too." "When?" 7 months. "Boy or girl?" "It's too early to know." "It doesn't matter. I just want it to be healthy." "It will be. Our baby will be perfect." Laura was crying with happiness. "Amber, you need to get married." "Mom." "No, she's right," said Nathan, kneeling in front of Amber. "Amber, right. Will you marry me?" "Like this? No ring, no planning?" "Like this. Here, now, in front of your mother." "Are you sure?" "I've never been so sure of anything in my life." "Then yes, I accept." Nathan stood up and kissed her, while Laura applauded. "We're going to have a wedding," she shouted. "We're going to have a wedding," agreed Amber. "And a baby. And a baby. And we're going to be happy. We're going to be happy." 2 months later, they married in a small ceremony, with only a few friends from the Bureau and the Navajo who had raised Amber. Laura was beautiful in a blue dress, Nathan elegant in a gray suit, and Amber radiant in a simple cotton dress. During the ceremony, Nathan looked at his wife and couldn't believe how far they had come. From a dark police station on a rainy night to an altar surrounded by people who loved them. "I love you," he murmured during the exchange of vows. "I love you too," she replied. "Forever?" "Forever. Even when I'm a grumpy old man. Especially then. And when you're a stubborn old lady, will you still love me then?" "Especially then." The judge declared them husband and wife, and when they kissed, Nathan felt as if the whole world perfectly aligned. There was no more fear, no more pursuit, no more loneliness. There was only love. 5 months later, Helena was born, a girl with green eyes like her mother and determination like her father. Laura cried when she saw her for the first time, and Nathan felt a love he didn't even know existed. "She's perfect," murmured Amber, holding her daughter. "Like her mother," said Nathan. "She'll be strong," said Laura, touching the baby's tiny hand. "She will be," agreed Amber. "But she'll also be loved. Always. Always," repeated Nathan. That night, at home, with Helena sleeping in the crib, Laura resting in her room, and Amber in his arms, Nathan reflected on everything that had happened. It had started with a desperate woman in a police station and ended with a complete family. "What are you thinking about?" asked Amber. "About how life can change in one night." "Changed for the better?" "Infinitely better." "No regrets?" "None." Everything was worth it. Even the pain. Especially the pain. Without it, I would never have found you. And if someone told me that to have you, I would have to go through it all again. Would you go through it?" Without hesitation. "Me too." They fell silent, listening to their daughter's soft breathing. Outside, Phoenix slept, But inside that house, there was a family that had found peace after the storm. Nathan? Yes? Thank you. For what? For teaching me that love is worth any risk. Thank you. For what? For teaching me that it's worth fighting for those we love. Always. Always. And as the city slept, they remained awake, planning the future, protecting the present, and being thankful for the past that had brought them here. Because sometimes in the midst of darkness, a light emerges that changes everything. And sometimes that light has the form of a desperate woman in a police station, looking for justice and finding love. Sometimes life gives us exactly what we need, at the moment we need it most. And sometimes, forever begins with a simple, "Can I trust you?" The answer, now and always, was yes.